welcome to the Game Buzz. I'm Matt, and I'm joined here once again this week by Carl Phillips.
Hello.
And by Jonathan Lester.
Hi there.
And something very sad happened this week. Well, no, I say that. Basically, Disney, who bought out LucasArts, have finally decided to shut them down. And I must admit, if they hadn't given us a press release, I wouldn't have noticed.
No, this was simultaneously the biggest and sort of least important news of the week. Because on the one hand, as soon as we heard about this, we were absolutely devastated. We were thinking, oh my God, we love LucasArts. They formed like this core part of our gaming heritage and the games we grew up with. And then we thought, actually, we've played Star Wars Connect. We've played The Force Unleashed 2. Is this actually a bad thing? Because, you know, we feel badly for the 150 people who've been let go, and we wish them the very best. But on the other hand, I mean, LucasArts have been a shadow of their former selves throughout this generation.
Oh, God, yeah.
And, you know, they survived mainly on the strength of their brilliant internal teams, like sort of Larry Holland and, of course, you know, the Double Fine and Gilbert Schaefer. But, you know, they haven't had that creative spark. They haven't had that drive and have just been pumping out some pretty miserable money spinners for the last God knows how many years. And this could open the door to some, you know, some new teams, some really big established studios getting on board with the Star Wars IP.
I completely agree. The thing is, like, LucasArts was once sort of a byword for everything right with the industry. They pioneered an entire genre. They made that 90s golden age the 90s golden age in conjunction with Sierra and that sort of adventure game Boom and Scum and then Grime-y. And yeah, they've done some fantastic stuff. They pioneered good franchise titles. Like the early Star Wars titles were really good. And then when they licensed it out to other studios, you know, and developed stuff in conjunction with outfits such as BioWare, we got things like Knights of the Old Republic, and it was sweet. But then they stagnated, started pumping out really awful knockoffs, canned Battlefront 3, and just
sucked.
Then they had what was it, five studio heads in the space of 5 years or something like that. Because I remember doing an article back in 2011, going, what the hell are LucasArts doing? And then Clint Hocking took over as like one of the creative leads of the studio for about a year. Didn't do anything there except write columns for Edge.
Yeah, because we thought that would be... No, but he was working on that super secret project, wasn't he?
Super secret.
That would probably turn into the probably now cancelled 1313, I imagine.
Yeah.
Which was all about Boba Fett, apparently.
Yeah, at least that's what the latest rumours from the just fantastic rumour mill Kotaku would have us believe.
I've got to say, you know, they have this amazing franchise where, again, you could go anywhere in the galaxy and they decide we're going to make a rather greyish third-person shooter in the bowels of Coruscant.
The thing is, though,
A, best bounty hunter ever.
Boba Fett, ledge. But B, sort of, this is one of the first Star Wars titles in recent years that has actually got quite a lot of hype and interest behind it now.
That's because it's one of the only Star Wars titles in recent years.
That is also true.
Hey, Rancors of the Force.
Yeah, you know, exactly. Connect Star Wars, come on.
Rancors.
Dancing Princess Leia.
You're not gonna bait me with this. I'm ill. I can't be baited.
Oh, you can.
In the Empire, you can join you. Oh, it's just great.
Yeah.
Yeah, like shocking shovelware aside, like people are excited about 1313, especially when it was confirmed that it was probably going to be a next-gen title. There was actually a lot of momentum behind it, so I wouldn't be surprised if perhaps another publisher maybe moves in to lap it up, because it's a Star Wars game. It should print money.
Yeah, perhaps Gearbox will take it.
Oh, God. Oh, no, you just had to say it, didn't you?
I'm on fire.
Please,
and now you've ruined it. Nice
Gearbox, Randy, don't you even think about taking it. Don't you even think about rescuing this one.
Yeah,
Like, we don't want you to rescue.
Because we've still got all that lovely Aliens Colonial Marines season pass content to enjoy yet, buddy.
Concentrate on your own IPs, Randy. Seriously, it's best for everyone. Like,
yeah, for sure.
It's like consumers falling down a mine and Lassie coming in and going, "I'll save you." It's like, no, Lassie, no, Randy, don't save us. We don't want it this time. Yeah, don't save 1313. That's bad. Obsidian, though, yeah, get on that pitch.
Yeah, they said they had an idea for a Star Wars pitch, and when Obsidian do Star Wars related things, they give us lovely, lovely things.
Also now, because the big complaint about Knights of the Old Republic 2 was that LucasArts essentially went, no, we're taking what you've done, doesn't matter if it's not finished, we'll just publish it anyway. Now, presumably, they'll just be given time.
Yeah, and Disney will say, look, okay, this is a good idea, find a publisher. Why are you pitching it to us? Like, find a publisher, and then we'll license it to them, and then let's do this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I actually think, yeah, it's really good. It's kind of really good. I mean, it's kind of like exactly what we said when Disney took over Lucasfilm and bought Star Wars, and people were like, "Oh my god, this is terrible." Then we went, "Well, hang on a minute. It can't be any worse than what Lucas has done over the past decade."
No, exactly.
So
yeah, I'd be interested to see it will be very tempting for them to sort of just bowl now straight up to Activision and say, hey, guys, come on, make some, throw some random teams together, shove out some terrible knockoff games, and then fire the dev teams immediately after finishing production. As they do with pretty much every licensed game they make, like, 007 Legends, even Deadpool, their dev team has been laid off. So, that it might be very tempting for Disney to do that, but hopefully they'll look to quality studios, really big established studios right now and say, look, guys, you can make a Star Wars game if you want to.
Well, it's kind of like, we know Star Wars is coming to Disney Infinity.
Yep.
It's a shame, really, that Epic Mickey 2 sort of sucked as hard as it did, because I'd quite like to see Warren Spector getting to grips with a Star Wars game. That'd be very interesting. But yeah, actually, kind of the sky's the limit, really. I mean, Disney will. There's no way they'll let the franchise just sit there. It's an enormous money spinner, and with the movies coming out, like, we can expect to see plenty of Star Wars content over the next few years. Whether or not it's good, we shall have to wait and see. But fingers crossed.
Yeah, exactly.
It certainly can't be worse than.
And yeah, hopefully,
the Force Unleashed. Literally, I love the fact that the sequel's name acronyms down to FU2.
Yep, and that's exactly what we all said when it came out. Yeah, hopefully as well. I mean, hopefully Disney will sort of sell Double Fine the rights to a bunch of the old LucasArts adventure games.
Yeah.
And we'll hopefully realise that re-releasing all these old games on something like GOG or even iOS that they're super excited about at the moment would be free money.
Yeah, because I mean, you look at what because essentially loads of ex-LucasArts devs ended up leaving the company, forming Telltale. They then licensed Monkey Island back out to those devs.
Yeah.
And hell yeah, span money across pretty much every single platform out there. PC, console, mobile, you name it, it's there. And a lot of people, we had a couple of people, ODB, our good friend Mike, both sort of said, does this mean Grim Fandango, the dream of it coming back, is dead? Ironically, it might mean...
It's more likely than ever.
It's more likely than ever. Because there's nothing...
Because Disney aren't going to want to... They've bought these IPs. These are part and parcel of the deal. They're not going to want to sit on them. There's no point just sitting on them when they could just flog them out.
Yeah. And with digital distribution being as strong as it is, there's no excuse. There's literally no excuse. Which is something that the incredibly poorly organised LucasArts never quite managed to figure out. And this has happened.
And now they're gone. And now they're gone. So yeah, fingers crossed that Disney are going to try and make some money off this.
Yes, please. Because you like money, Disney, and we like those old games. So let's let's create scenarios where everybody wins.
Yeah, and we'd also like to see what happens when you give Force Unleashed to Platinum. Dun, dun, dun. I don't want to see that. I actually don't want to see that. I don't ever want to see that. But yeah,
Wearing
no,
guitars, Starkiller jumps down with 3 lightsabers. He's got one in his mouth as well, and then he's just like slicing away.
There's a 4th in his ass.
And he's got some he's got some on his feet, and like
it's just General Grievous.
Lightsaber. Yeah, in fact, yeah, you just play as General Grievous.
The Sith Chronicles of General Grievous.
Exactly. Lovely.
Yeah, I'd play that.
So yeah, sky's the limit. If Disney really run with this and see the opportunity right there dangling in front of their faces.
Indeed.
Yep. So also give us that Star Wars Pixar mini-series / featurette, please.
Also, if Battlefront 3, if it's still there and still 80% finished or whatever it was,
allegedly,
just push it out the door. Just nudge it out.
Yeah, exactly. Just push it out, or even better, just like
give it back to the guys at Crytek.
Yeah. Hey, EA, you want a piece of this? Like you've got Battlefield 4 out. It's done. It's finished. You've got DICE sitting around baking basically Mirror's Edge 2, but there's still loads of people sitting around. You got that Frostbite 3 engine. I mean, wouldn't it be nice for sort of DICE's sort of off-year shooter and EA's off-year shooter to not be Medal of Honor, but to actually be an awesome Star Wars game? They can do that now.
They got burned the last time they did Star Wars, though.
That they did, yeah.
But we can always dream.
We can always dream.
We can always dream.
Yes.
Anyway, so yes, that's Disney, that's Star Wars, boom, bye-bye LucasArts, we love you. There's an article on site where we wax lyrical about our favourite LucasArts games. We'll probably do that again, actually, on Sunday, perhaps. Or I'll just write why we love Grim Fandango. Actually, I think I've already done that. But yes, that's there on site. Do check that out. It's wonderful. Elsewhere this week, music. Classic FM, once again. Held their annual Hall of Fame voting chartage, and for the 2nd year running, video games did very, very well indeed.
Even better.
Better than last year.
Mad props to Viva Pinata here. Frankly.
Yeah, that was a surprise.
Mad props.
I mean, we weren't expecting Skyrim to get in last year. That came out nowhere, and then all of a sudden, halfway through the chart, we hear Viva Pinata playing. Having a fresh day.
Awesome.
And congratulations to Grant Kirkhope for getting that far. It's absolutely fantastic and a worthy winner, really, because it's really nice music in Viva Pinata.
Well, I think because Mark Robbins, who we know as our sort of main PR liaison for Bethesda, he's on his own time been sort of feverishly campaigning to get video games into this Classic FM chart for a couple of years now. And last year there was huge success. This year, even more, and it's always been centered around, excuse me, Aerith's theme from Final Fantasy VII, and as a result of last year, Dragonborn. From Skyrim by Jeremy Soule. And so when those two we were quite surprised by how high they got into the top 5.
Yeah.
Well, it's voting, isn't it? So
well, it is.
Yes.
But it means that the campaign was incredibly successful. The idea behind being sort of channeling all the votes through one song was to get one song as high as it possibly could, and sort of gain
a bit like Rage Against the Machine a few Christmases back.
Yeah,
agreed. So the power of social media, which a number of people didn't sort of take too kindly to, but it makes that sort of Grant Kirkhope admission even more special.
Yes,
because that's something that's come completely out of left field because of people, because of video game fans getting involved and voting for their own personal choice rather than necessarily buying into the campaign.
Yeah.
So I really like that, and I really hope that now we've had the campaign success, we'll see a lot more personal, idiosyncratic voting.
Yeah,
and just also no voting. I'd like to see some proper official, properly discussed, hammered out by sort of classical music aficionados and experts and, some of the DJs on Classic FM. I don't know if you can call them DJs or not, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Actually factoring video games in directly to this without any voting being involved.
I'm not sure. It's a difficult one. I mean, speaking about the people who were complaining about the block voting, as a listener of Classic FM myself, I listen to it pretty much every single day. lots of people have been complaining about it all, and they're the same people who said, well, it's always boring. The top 5 in the Classic FM Hall of Fame for the past 10 years has basically been the same. And now something that's come along and mixed it up, and it's got a whole different audience involved, and they're not quite sure what to do with it. And there's been huge discussion about the legitimacy of video game soundtracks in Classic FM. And what constitutes classical music. It's brilliant.
Yeah,
absolutely brilliant.
That's what I mean. We're having that discussion now. And that's, that's one of the best things to come of this. And also, I mean, we were talking about this a couple of days ago. It's great that these two audiences have collided in this ridiculous two-way process.
Yeah.
The gamers are appreciating not just game music, but other kinds of classical music. They're listening to the chart. They're having their sort of horizons broadened by that. And on the flip side, the video game music becoming, being legitimately recognized as a form of classical music is happening as well. And people are saying, actually, this video game music isn't just a bunch of 8-bit sort of plinky plonky level sort of background noise. This is actually serious stuff made by skilled people.
Absolutely.
So I think that's really wonderful. Although, for the record, I mean, there are any number of... I totally agree with you with the personal choices. I mean, there are any number of pieces of video game music that, just from the Final Fantasy franchise alone, makes Aerith's theme sound like the Nokia ringtone.
Yeah. It's something that we discussed last year when we covered the Hall of Fame success. I think, and I think that generally for the three of us, there are better pieces. I personally think that the world theme from Final Fantasy VII is a better technical piece, and covers a whole range of emotions and everything else. Same with Dragonborn. I mean, that is not necessarily... It's the most iconic and most recognizable, I would say, but I don't think it's the best piece that Soul's done for the franchise. And then you've got other series that have brilliant pieces as well that could easily match up to a lot that's in the Hall of Fame.
Agreed. I'm gonna have to start a campaign for Panzer Dragoon Saga's Sona Mi Araru X Sansitu. That level music, that is just such a beautiful track. Makes me cry, that track.
Brilliant.
Amazing that it came out on the Saturn. Goddamn. Full orchestral, amazing.
But yeah, I mean, going back to the whole discussion that obviously video game music, is it classical? It's brilliant because it's almost echoing the discussion that Robert Egbert, who unfortunately died this week, he obviously that's the one. Roger, that's the one. He obviously came up with his video games art, and it's brought out a very similar discussion. It is again legitimizing video games in a completely different way. And I think it's absolutely brilliant that we're starting to get this sort of discussion going.
It really is. I can't wait to see where it leads, basically.
Yes.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, there's always going to be a place for, like, grinding generic metal in video games.
Oh, yeah.
Annoyingly, there's always... I love a bit of grinding generic metal. Damn, I love a bit of that in Serious Sam. But sadly, now there's also a place for horrifically obnoxious dubstep everywhere.
Wob, wob.
Wob, 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 wob. I mean, that latest Remember Me trailer has pretty much got just the most dubstep I've ever seen compressed into a video game trailer. Even Borderlands 2.
Oh, God.
Even
Borderlands that was 2 done with style, though.
Looks like freaking Brahms compared to that Remember Me trailer.
I have to admit, like, one of the games I sort of missed because November, like, the October-November time, sort of, we end up sort of taking large chunks out of the review schedule each, and quite often we don't get to play the other stuff that someone else has reviewed because we're all sort of reviewing different things. So I'm finally going through Far Cry 3, and I've got to say that I love Far Cry 3. It's really awesome, but it's kind of really jarring when you're sort of doing this super awesome, stealthy awesomeness throughout the jungle, and all of a sudden this like little wub thing comes in.
Yeah, although it's quite fun. It's quite fun when you're burning down a marijuana plantation and it's just got crazy like jungle reggae music playing in the background. That's quite fun. Apologies if you haven't got to that bit yet. Spoiler alert.
It's fantastic that the debate is raging, and it's great as well that there are composers on the Classic FM site getting involved themselves. So we've seen like Jason Graves and Jack Wall, sort of composer luminaries from the industry getting stuck in and giving their 2 cents. There's an interview with Jeremy Soule up there as well.
Yeah.
That you've really got to check out. It's fascinating stuff. I really want to interview that man.
That would be sweet. But we'd have the danger of just like humping his leg. That's the only problem.
Again, yeah, it'd be like John and Tim Willits all over again.
Well, that might be an interesting place to jump to the next subject in a nice awkward segue. Because
nice.
Speaking of people whose legs I would very much like to hump, id Software have been in the news this week.
They have.
They have, because apparently, and this has been confirmed by Bethesda's PR guru Pete Hines, Doom 4 has basically been restarted. They got several years into development and realised that it was crap. And rather than pushing it out, Bethesda and id Software opted to basically start again. I assume that they'll focus now on next-gen consoles, and it's going to have a full creative and visual reboot, which is broadly a good thing, I would think. It's nice to see a publisher taking a long look at something and saying, this is bad. We can't release this, rather than saying, yeah, release this. Also, you're all fired now. Activision.
Yeah. I mean, it's not necessarily the first time we've seen something like this from Bethesda happen. I mean, Prey 2, more specifically.
Don't get started on Prey 2.
You know what I mean?
Where is it?
Exactly. I mean,
don't make me cry.
It's somewhere out there.
You know what they should do? They should just put Boba Fett as the main character and slap a star.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah. That's what they should do.
Oh, man, yeah. Oh, man.
Yeah. Boom.
That's some blue sky thinking right there. I love it.
Just fixed it.
Yeah. Just going back to Doom 4, though, I mean, it's almost kind of understandable in the way that Rage didn't necessarily live up to the hype that had been kind of like put behind it. I mean, it was a very satisfying shooter, but I think I agree with a number of people who said that had it come out before Fallout 3, it would have blown us away.
I agree, and Borderlands as well.
Yeah.
The problem was, it was in development before these games actually were in development. It was in development for donkey's years. And it had such a long development cycle that we got super, super excited. Then we played a whole bunch of other post-apocalyptic games that kind of did it better. And then Rage came out with just stunning art direction. Thank you, Tim Willits. And some really good... I would say I don't really want to get into Rage because it's an old game. We've talked about this a lot before, but Rage was at its best when id Software were doing what they know. Awesome corridor shooting. Like some of the levels when you're just shooting away through awesome corridors, like you've played Rage, right?
Yeah.
Jackal Canyon
is
just an awesome level. Because you're just going through this crazy environment. There's stuff going on anywhere. You're getting constantly attacked. You get from all angles. You've got crazy balloons coming up and shooting you. You've got all sorts of just really crazy visceral stuff going on. But it just kept slowing down because id Software don't know how to create something that resembles a living, breathing, vibrant, open world.
Yeah.
And every time they tried to do that, Rage sucked. Also, the ending was terrible. You know, that was also really bad. But so hopefully Doom 4 will focus on what id Software do know how to do, i.e. awesome corridors.
Let's hope.
And shotguns. And I'd like to see them take, as a few people have commented on site this week, I'd like to see a slightly more action-oriented take on Doom, as opposed to Doom 3's very creepy, very effective, very good, but ultimately sort of out-of-character horror stylings.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens. Either way, I'm willing to wait because, you know, I'm an id Software fanboy. I'm used to waiting. Waiting and waiting. And waiting some more.
Please wait.
It's nice. It's refreshing to see a studio come out and say, no, that was balls. We're doing it again. Sorry, guys. We wasted a bit of time here, but... It needs to be better. Yeah, no, it is great to see that. I think as well, they're just going to have. I think a major hurdle with this is going to be sort of keeping John Carmack focused. John Carmack, if you like take your eyes off him for 10 seconds, he'll just randomly say, "Oh, sorry, I haven't been working on the engine at all. I've made Rage run on an iPhone." Why? Because I got bored. Also, don't let him to talk. Don't let him talk to people, because if he talks to people, like they'll give him ideas, like or hand him a rift and distract him that way.
Yeah, and then they won't get that running, and they won't get that running for the rifts. So please wait, because we have to wait.
Please
always have to wait. But I don't mind. It's id Software, so yeah, and it's Doom, so don't rush it. The worst thing they could do would be to rush Doom 4.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay. I think we can move on from that. I think we're all agreed that we want Doom 4, but we really don't want it to come out soon and suck.
Yeah.
Speaking of things that suck, segue time. Aliens Colonial Marines.
Yeah, wow, that really does suck. That was a good segue.
And not only that, it might be a little bit litigious.
Well, it's. I think the operative word is little bit, really. Someone complained to the Advertising Standards Authority that the demos that they showed and the trailers and even the screenshots were total and complete lies based on a fictional non-interactive engine that doesn't exist outside of that closed E3 booth that looked awesomely like a drop pod. That was kind of cool, but like that, the whole thing was a total lie, and someone complained, and the Advertising Authority came back and said, well, we don't actually have the power to do anything, but we've had a chat with Sega, and Sega said have agreed to put disclaimers on these things now after launch, so it does make a blind bit of difference, and say this is based on demo footage. And I think it's a shame that we're not seeing Sega get a little bit more of a slap on the wrist for this. But on the other hand, the ASA can't really enforce anything beyond saying, look, sort your adverts out. And also, the original complainant was upfront about the fact that he said, I don't expect the ASA to do anything. The whole point is that it's bad publicity. The whole point is that people need to know about this, and it's more important that people read about this story and my complaint and what came of this, rather than the actual act itself.
Yeah.
And it was nice to see Sega kind of tacitly admit that, yes, those adverts were very misleading. I do get the distinct impression that they themselves were a bit surprised that Aliens Colonial Marines turned out as shit as it did, because, they've been funding it for years and years and years, and continually getting told, nah, it's not ready. Nah, we're doing Borderlands. Nah, play Borderlands while you're waiting. It's awesome. And then said, look, come on, release it. And the Gearbox were like, wow, look at this demo. And they were like, oh, this is totally cool. Let's make some trailers. So, yeah, I get the feeling that Sega were probably as pissed off as we were. But, I'd like to see... It's always nice to see people being held accountable, even if it's in a tiny, meaningless way. And I'd like to see this get a little bit more sort of punitive in future. I mean, hopefully this is just going to act as a bit of a deterrent, and Alien Colonial Marines in and of itself acting as a deterrent for publishers doing this kind of bait and switch marketing.
It's interesting. We've seen this year's seen a lot of anger around that sort of the release period regarding previews, regarding press coverage, regarding timely review code, surrounding lying to your consumers and the press. We've seen this morning as well, VG247 had an article up on the site where their chief news writer Dave Cook just sort of slammed companies essentially not sending out review code until after release. There's been a lot of this sort of this bubbling anger about miscommunication and just, well, in the case of Aliens, plain lying. And it's difficult because, yeah, as you said, the ASA doesn't have any real power. There's not really any particular way to hold these companies accountable except through us, in a sense, except through the presses. And we're starting to see that rage bubble over now, which is a good thing. Whether or not it changes anything going forward will remain to be seen. But as well, consumers, vote with your money. Don't buy things day one. Don't pre-order things if you have any doubts whatsoever, just don't pre-order things unless you're getting a really sick deal.
Yeah, unless you can get a super sick deal, just don't pre-order it. You know, if there aren't reviews out, then there's a reason for that. There's usually a reason why. And, you know, just do not ever pre-order season passes.
Ever.
Why? Don't ever do that. just putting that out there as a pro tip. Don't spend money on things that literally don't exist yet.
Please.
Yeah, don't do that.
Just leads to bad times for everyone. And it lets suits sit in meetings and go, well, they want this. No, we don't.
Well, it's like we do kind of want this. We want, like, we want you to bring out really awesome big expansion packs that we can then either buy separately or buy all of them and get a discount. But don't buy it before we even know what they are and whether they're any good. So
Bioshock Infinite.
Bioshock Infinite, stupid. I completed that over the long weekend, and oh my, how are they going to add meaningful DLC to that?
I don't know. That's going to be a conversation for our super spoilery podcast that comes at some stage.
Yeah.
We're running out of time. I just want to finish up this week by really, really quickly busting through just
loads of flam about the
a few next gen things. So yeah, the next gen Xbox controller might not have any new features. I don't care.
Yeah, I don't really care, but the reason it won't have any
new
features, the reason it won't have any new features is because Kinect 2.0 is going to be a super core part of the experience, and that's controller free. So, you know, the whole point is there's nothing new added to your controller. The point is that you'll always be putting it down and engaging with your games by randomly flailing your arms around. So, you know, that's super exciting.
I'd love to see the testers who tested out Fable: The Journey, because I wonder if they're in traction. Because as you said, because I previewed it for a couple of hours and found it to be incredibly painful. You reviewed it and found it to be incredibly painful. We don't want to be flailing around more.
Well, if you don't want to be flailing around more, maybe you should put a lighting up LED beacon on the back of your controller. Otherwise, it's flailing time.
Yeah.
Okay, but that's one thing. You know, the Xbox 360 controller rocks. It's just so good. So I don't mind if it is basically the same. And do you know what? I'd really like it if it was just compatible with standard current Xbox 360 controllers.
That'd be super sweet.
Yeah, it probably won't be, but hell, we can hope.
As all of our regulars know, we freaking love the Xbox 360 controller almost as much as we love the Wavebird. Almost. Next gen news. The PS4 is apparently a really perfect gaming PC, according to Epic. Cool.
Well, yeah, I mean, it kind of is. Like, it's a gaming PC, but without you having to constantly worry about updating your drivers and getting malware and basically the whole thing just knackering out, and having to constantly get every game and then dick about with the graphics settings to find that sweet spot between sort of having the highest AA and having a decent frame rate. So yeah, on the one hand, it's super convenient. It is a very well, not a very powerful, but a fairly powerful, well optimized gaming PC, with hopefully a super convenient front end.
I think
and that's the thing. His point is that's the point he made. The point was it's going to be super convenient. He made a stupid point about saying, well, you know, it's better than 32-bit gaming PCs, and everyone rightly said, who has a 32-bit gaming PC?
Like, my budget laptop is 64-bit.
Who has one of those? But you know, that's a total non-starter. But he was right about convenience. Convenience is the one thing, personally, in my opinion, that's stopping just PC from just being the ultimate gaming platform and just ruining consoles, totally ruining them. Okay. But as we're seeing, you know, I like to put stuff in. Sometimes after a long day, I like to know that I can just put a game in the thing, and I'll switch on the thing, and it'll play. And I don't have to boot up NVIDIA Experience and download the beta drivers. You know? I like that.
I think as well, it'll be the convenience of the back end as well. The advanced PC architecture, I mean, the PS3 was balls to develop for. PS4, everyone's saying it's much, much easier.
Well, it's a PC.
Which where's a PC, and that's the point. Like convenience for both devs and consumers, and that's why people are raving about it. However, people, and by people I mean GameStop, are also raving about the new Xbox, even though we don't know what it is or whatever.
No, we do know what it is now. It's a hot, compelling device.
Oh, it's super hot.
Oh, it's hot and it's super compelling.
Spicy.
Well, which is exactly what you'd expect GameStop to say, being that they will want to sell you one. So, arguably take that with a pinch of salt. But it was interesting what they said about, they did suggest that there's going to be a big debate about whether or not game prices will rise, which I think is a big discussion that we're going to have at a later date because we're running out of time. But yeah, games prices could rise. Publishers are really feeling the pinch right now. We're seeing even games like Tomb Raider selling just mad amounts of units coming in under projections. So it'll be, publishers are desperate and people do stupid things when they're desperate. So they might say, oh, if we just make these AAA games more expensive, we'll make back more money. That's dumb on any number of levels. Mm-hmm. But it could happen. And we're basically going to sort of have to watch his space, really. But it was also interesting that GameStop guy said that pre-owned games are a key way of keeping prices down at the moment. So it's interesting he'd bring that up in a conversation about the next Xbox. So, whether or not we see its anti-used game functionality happening or not remains to be seen. Or maybe Microsoft have come to an arrangement with their retailers.
So much of that interview was fronting. I mean, so much of it was retail is still important. It's still important. Yeah,
totally
we sell consoles. That's why the digital revolution is not reaching us. It's like, no, that's terrible. Like next, so much the whole thing about pre-owned, bringing that up. The idea that prices, that the RRPs are going to rise is where everything is pointing towards convergence with mobile, as mobile games get slightly more expensive as we see.
Yeah, the trend right now is that people like to pay less for things and then cherry pick the bits they want. Like, that's the consumer trend that is making big money right now.
And it's also the consumer trend that's been prevalent for the last decade or two. Games prices used to be really, really high.
Yeah.
Higher than they are now.
And we're trying to see a few people, mainly EA, trying to sneak past silly RRPs for things like The Devil's Cartel and SimCity. But, I do think it is plausible that publishers would ideally want as a short-term measure to raise game prices. Obviously, they would. But it's a stupid and short-sighted idea.
So the thing is,
stupid and short-sighted people, you must bear in mind.
But when it comes to console, you see, we've seen the digital marketplaces for full games, for sort of full, in inverted commas, retail games, listing them for ridiculous prices. We had Army of Two, 60 quid on the PSN. Sony, what are you doing? And the reason they're doing that is because, they have these retail partners. But as retail space shrinks, and we've seen this for the PC market, which has no high street presence whatsoever, disgracefully, but they're booming. Why? Because their prices are competitive, because we have loads of sales, because we've got lots of online marketplaces that understand that, it's actually about valuing your customers.
Yep.
So yeah, sorry GameStop guy, but you're about 10 years too late with this.
Yeah, but it'll always, as Carl frequently says, it's always nice to buy your console from a brick and mortar retailer. Yeah. It's just nice. It's nice sometimes to do that. Admittedly, I tend not to do that, but because I want to pay less for it. But there's it's always nice to know that you can take it somewhere if it breaks. That is good. That is a good thing. But there's more. There have been more next gen rumors. I mean, Ubisoft have also similarly come out and said that the next Xbox is going to be a really nice piece of kit, and that it's totally connected and it's going to be totally awesome. And they still haven't confirmed whether or not it will actually play games, but apparently it's going to be social and connected. Which brings us on nicely to fresh controversy surrounding how connected it is. Because one of the big megaton rumors surrounding the next Xbox is that it has to be constantly connected to the internet. Not just to cache content in the background and update games in the background and download marketplace content in the background, but also as online DRM. And there's been a bit of a Twitter shitstorm, for want of a better word, surrounding this recently, with Xbox Studios creative director coming out and saying, "Look, deal with it. Every device is connected to the internet. So just deal with it.
Deal with it.
Deal with it.
Deal with it.
Hashtag
Yeah.
deal with it.
Hashtag
YOLO.
Hashtag YOLO.
You only live once.
YOLO, deal with it.
Oh no.
YOLO, deal with it. So yeah, I mean, a lot of that discussion was actually just a bit of light-hearted banter between two good mates, and the guy he was bantering with, because a lot of people got up in arms about the fact that he was seemingly slamming sort of people who live in rural areas, and actually he was just having a bit of a laugh with a close friend who works for BioWare, but he's a senior executive. He should know better than that. And it's apparently there are more sources coming out of the woodwork to say that yes, the next Xbox will require an online connection. We don't know whether or not this is just a safeguard built into the dev kits to stop people playing things they shouldn't be playing, and to let Microsoft keep an eye on who exactly is doing what. I personally think that's actually quite plausible. But yeah, Carl, you hit the nail on the head when you said the problem is rumors like this are incredibly devastating to Microsoft because they haven't announced anything.
Yep, basically, if they just turned around and announced something, we wouldn't be picking apart I'm not going to say innocent conversation, but a bit of a jovial, sort of like banter-esque thing on Twitter, instead of like, tell us something. Show us something.
Just come out and say, no, the next Xbox won't have always online. Or, yes,
stop complaining. Please wait, our
information's
information's coming. Yeah.
Yeah, just say fucking, yes, it will have always online. Hashtag deal with it, YOLO.
Yeah. And you'll find out about it when we finally do our press conference, which may or may not be happening this month.
Yeah, it's supposedly this month.
Apparently it may be happening in May. It may be happening in May now.
Yeah.
A lot of people are saying that actually it's going to be May. It's probably just going to be, it might just be E3.
Yeah,
there might be some closed door stuff happening over the next couple of months to get lots of lovely footage for the big reveal of lots of, Jeff Cayley saying, "Oh man, these new active, always connected adverts are so delicious, not unlike Doritos." And
lots of has the Doritos holder.
Lots of and lots of like industry figures all queuing up saying, as they always do at console launches, saying, "Oh, this is the future. Oh, we love the social features. We can't wait to support this." So it's possible that a lot of this is going to be closed door NDA stuff, but just announce something, Microsoft, because these rumors are hurting you.
Yeah.
They are hurting you so bad, and they might be scurrilous. Some of them might be downright lies, but we don't know, and they're killing you. And I've got to say, Sony are killing you out there, Microsoft.
Yeah,
I was just ruining you out there.
I was just about to say, it's like all the while Microsoft, the thing about whatever the next Xbox is going to be is like the information still on the ground. Sony are very slowly giving us more and more concrete information about their console, and so people are going, that sounds really good. I know everything about. Well, I've got a better idea of what's going in the PS4. That sounds up my street. I'll pre-order one.
Or even just, I'm excited about one. And when you think, people are talking about it. People are saying this is cool. Not just consumers. Developers are talking about it. You've got The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. That's a PS4 game. Not an Xbox 720, Durango, whatever it's going to be called game.
Yeah.
Publishers are coming out, and we are thinking of things like Diablo 3. We're thinking of things like... pretty much every next-gen game. Every game that has been confirmed for next-gen consoles, we are thinking in terms of the PS4.
It was just some outstanding gamesmanship from Sony. We're not worried about being first. Oh, look, we're first! And we're taking all the devs! And we're taking all the hype! And we're taking all of that sort of trending buzz!
Yeah, and we're leaking out loads of false rumours about you. If I was Sony, I'd be constantly leaking rumors about always on DRM for the Xbox 360. I'd employ teams of very clever PR people to get out on forums and
that'd be amazing. And then
seed
right
the internet with Xbox 720 will require spinal fluid samples to validate new games and stuff.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. And then they turn around and go, yeah, that's just putting a boat down the Thames during the PS3 launch night. Yeah.
But here's the thing.
Payback's a bitch.
Yeah, you see, but all of these things are rumors, and I think personally that it's more likely that this always on philosophy is a dev kit safeguard rather than a consumer thing. But look, Microsoft are just stupid enough to do this. It has the ring of truth to it, and if they do, I'm going to keep playing my Wii U, and I'm going to keep playing my PC.
Yeah,
I would keep playing my 3DS. And then, when enough games are out for the PS4, I'll buy one of those.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what pretty much, I don't know, everyone I talk to, that is what they say. It's like, why would we buy a console? If Microsoft were to do this, they would shoot themselves in the foot. They would fall on their sword. They would do any number of stupid analogies that I haven't had enough coffee today, and I can't quite think of any better ones. But they would just give the console war, the console race away to freaking Nintendo in some cases. Some people would say, actually, I don't want to be always connected to play yet another Halo game. Actually, fuck it, I want to play Mario. I can get a Wii U and I can play that offline.
Yep. It's like, new Zelda offline.
So Microsoft, don't give the PS4 yet another unique selling point, and for God's sake, don't give Nintendo a unique selling point as well. You can play it offline. That shouldn't be a selling point. Although it is, because, Torchlight... Well, there are so many selling points with Torchlight, but that's one of them. So, yeah, all of this is rumours. All of this is deeply depressing. And all of this is really hurting Microsoft, who need to get their act together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed. I think that's quite nice. That's quite a good note to end on. Get your act together, Microsoft.
Yeah, and just get out. Just give us something. Like, I know the whole point is that you've got to withhold details until the perfect time to just splurge onto the internet and get everyone excited about it. But
that time has passed.
Yeah,
get it out now.
Yeah, Sony went past that time. Sony have already done that. So Microsoft, you've got to shut this down. It would not leak any. It would not at all affect you if you just came out in a statement and said there is no always online DRM.
Please wait.
Yeah, that would not impact your marketing at all. That would, in fact, help a lot. So just...
Dealspone top tip, right there.
Dealspone top tip. Sort it out, Microsoft.
And on that bombshell.
Yeah, let's...
Gonna go pre-order a PS4.
Yeah.
No, don't pre-order anything.
No pre-ordering.
Order the PS4.
On for you.
To be honest, if you pre-order the PS4, chances are, like, according to analysts, you probably won't see one anyway, because demand is... That's probably been leaked by Sony. They're already going, yeah, there might not be enough to
yeah, but on the plus side, if the Xbox does have always online DRM, there'll be a shitload of those knocking around, so...
Hooray!
Yep.
There we go.
There you go.
There's the nice piece of info we need to end this.
Indeed.
We'll catch you next time, guys. Thank you very much for listening. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Hashtag YOLO.
God damn it.
Deal with it. YOLO.
Hashtag deal with it, YOLO. You only deal with it once.
Deal or no deal. Yo.
Deal or no deal. Oh, deal or YOLO deal. Deal, YOLO deal.
Oh,
yes.
Oh.
Deal, YOLO deal.
Deal,
yeah.